Hello, everyone. Today, I'd like to discuss how to filter out lies that you might hear from people that you agree with, um, groups that you agree with, to try to not be a group thinker, but be an individual thinker. For instance, if you're a Republican or Democrat, or if you belong to a certain religion, or any organization that you belong to that you agree with what they say in general, there's going to be times that they're going to say things you don't agree with. So you have to make sure you don't buy into the groupthink that a lot of people buy into that take them down the wrong road. So that's one very important thing, to not be um, be bought into that group. Like, let's say you're a Republican and they say certain things that you agree with, and then a few times they say things that you don't agree with. For instance, mandates, or maybe they'll say that police are great, they can do no wrong, support the police. But you know that mandates are wrong, and you know there's a lot of bad police, a lot of policy that police enact, and police unions, and just the whole structure. There's some rotten things in there. We know that it's a partial truth to say that um, police are bad, because we know there's some good in it and there's some bad in it. So we can't say that it's all bad. We can't say that it's all good. So we have to start filtering out the good from the bad, so you can try and figure out what the problem is. But sometimes you are in a group that they don't do that. They just make general statements. You're a Republican, and they'll say, "We support the police. We support what they do." Wait a second. We don't support all police. We support the good things they do, and we don't support the bad things. We want to differentiate that, but these groups don't allow that. So once you belong to a group and you start saying things like, "Wait a second, no, not all police are good. Not a lot of things the police do are good. Not a lot of laws regarding the police are good." So you have to stand up and say, "Wait a second, I don't agree with that. I only agree with this part." But as soon as you do that, and you're in some kind of group, you're all immediately going to be pushed out. So then you have to know that if you stayed there, you would have been doing groupthink, and that's going to get you in trouble down the line, because you're going to be going the wrong direction in your life when you're following a group. Another thing is, we have to try to remove the ego from looking for the truth. So when we're looking for the truth, we have to just look at the facts. We have to remove our emotion, remove any loyalty we have to that certain subject or certain group, and just look at the facts for what they are, because those facts are going to be better than any lie that you might tell yourself. So in other words, a ugly truth is infinite times better than a pretty lie. Because if you lie to yourself and tell yourself that you want to be a part of this group, and you agree with a lot of things they say, but a few things you don't agree with, then you pretty much have to pull yourself away, and maybe they force you to go away. And that's another problem, that some of these groups, as soon as you don't agree with 100% of what they say, they push you away. They don't want you there, because they know you're gonna cause trouble for them, because they want everybody having one voice. As soon as there's any disagreement, they're not going to be successful. They want to push you out. So you don't want to be a part of any group think. So there's a few YouTubers that I've been watching for many years that I really like what they say. I mean, and they've taught me a lot. One of them is Brian from High Impact Flicks. He talks a lot about freedom, about right and wrong, just in general. He is spot on with like 99% of the things that he says. And there's a few things that I disagree with, obviously. So we have to make sure that somebody that tells you so much truth and just bombards you with truth, and you're just like, "Yes, I agree with that. Yes, I agree with that. That's amazing. Yeah, that's a great. I never thought about it that way. That's a fantastic way to think about it." And you're just buying into what they're selling you. They could easily slip in a couple of things that don't make sense, that you could easily they can go past your radar, and you can say, oh yeah, that makes sense too, because you didn't think about it enough. So you have to be very careful on things that you're thinking maybe that doesn't make sense. You have to kind of file that away and think about that later without just agreeing, because you agree with everything that that person says because they say so many good things. Frank Turek as well. I mean, I love the way he does his apologetics. He's very truth. When he speaks, is everything sounds the truth. It doesn't. He doesn't pull any punches. He doesn't. He doesn't even really go for any kind of churches, like any religions or different denominations. It looks like he's just about the truth, about apologetics. So I like that about him. A few things that he talks about I don't really like. I know he's in the military. His family's in the military, so he might have some biases towards government and military. That we all know that there's certain things that go on that he might not say it or might not think it. So he might be wrong on certain things. So you want to be careful not to agree with everything somebody says, just so you're always looking for the truth without putting any person in there or any group in that truth, so they don't trick you. So that's one way of thinking all the time, of removing your ego, looking for the truth, and being aware that when you're caught in groupthink, or when you're actually just looking for the truth. So hopefully that helps you. Something to think about anytime you're looking at the world and getting all these information, to filter it out and make sure that it is actually true. Just because you're watching Fox News and you agree a lot of things they say, they can easily slip in a bunch of things that you don't agree with, but all of a sudden they'll trick you into believing it because they say so many good things that you agree with. So again, be careful out there and filter the truth.